Chapter 1. The killer and I sat together in the back seat of the late-model Range Rover, our shoulders just touching. Wesley Curran, early 20s, in jeans and a faded beer-me sweatshirt, shifted uneasily next to me, rubbing his cuffed hands between his knees. His face, profiled in the half-light glazing the snow-crusted windows, was narrow, acne-pitted. Hard-planed, as though etched with acid. His bony frame, so slender he seemed swallowed up by the threadbare county parka, practically vibrated with banked anger. I turned away from him to stare out my own side window, out at the gray blur of blowing snow beating sideways against the car, as though propelled by a rage of its own. Beyond that relentless swirl of dirty white flakes clinging wetly to the window glass, stretched the darkly forested, isolated landscape of rural West Virginia. Far from the interstate and highways, from the lights of the beleaguered small towns and gasping, dying farms. I shivered in my own fleece-lined parka and gloves, my hurried summons down here from Pittsburgh, the desperate phone call from Detective Chief Avery Block, the nerve-twisting drive through a rattling storm to Wheeling PD headquarters, then over just-plowed county roads to the main lockup to meet Wes Curran himself. All this urgent, headlong momentum had left me little time to think about what it was I'd actually agreed to, and why. I glanced then at the two officers in the front seat, or to be more precise, at the backs of their heads. Though the temperature was just above freezing outside, the dashboard heater was pumping waves of thick, airless heat into the cramped forward area, and both men were sweating. Dark drops beaded the clean lines of their regulation haircuts along the backs of their necks. The older of the two, in the passenger seat, was Chief Avery Block, far past middle-aged, balding, thick-waisted, furiously chewing his ever-present nicotine gum. When he spoke, which was rarely, it was more like a grunt. The labored effort of a beaten, disillusioned small-town cop for whom things hadn't exactly worked out as planned, and who no longer cared who knew it. In the driver's seat sat Detective Sergeant Harv Randall, barely 30, lean and wiry, gloved hands tapping anxiously on the wheel as he peered through the storm-blurred windshield. Dark sleeves of snow were pushed to the side by noisy wipers, only to be replaced by fresh clumps.
"This your first visit to West Virginia, Doc?"
Randall asked me this without taking his gaze from the windshield. His boss, with an obvious cough, turned to look at him through weary, rheumy eyes, chewing slower now. "Yes, it is, Sergeant." I was their guest, so I went with polite. "Too bad about the storm, though. Looks like nice, wide-open country. Wish I could see more of it." I watched the back of his head bob.
"Almost heaven, like the song says."
Chief Block pulled the exhausted wad of gum from his teeth, pinched it between gloved fingers, stuck it up on the window visor with its gooey brethren. "You just keep your eyes peeled for that turnoff, Sergeant, okay?" Another head bob.
"Yes, sir."
It was then that Wes Curran spoke. For the first time since we'd all climbed into the Range Rover back in Wheeling, shoulders hunched against the punishing storm, and then to head south through the backwoods. For the first time in an hour.
"Turnoff should be just ahead, up on your right there, Harv."
I could see Randall's hands tighten on the wheel. "That's Sergeant Randall to you, douchebag." Curran gave a low, dark chuckle, as if in response to some private joke in his mind. I looked over at him again, and he swiveled his head to meet my gaze. A slow, deliberate movement, like a clockwork person in a dream. Yet his eyes were moist, bright, agitated, as though straining to convey either assured bemusement or callous disregard, a ploy betrayed by his thin, twitching fingers. Of course, I knew this could just be my own mind, telling stories, a product of the numbing cold, the snow, the wind-whipped moonscape outside, of the strange, sad journey we were on. I'd no sooner had that thought than